All right, I'm going to call to order the regular board meeting of the Batavia Park Board of Commissioners for July 18th at 7 p.m. Shirley, please call the roll.
Riley.
Here.
Dorsey.
Here.
Tillman.
Here.
Gray. Here. Callahan.
Here, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Any items to be added, removed, or changed on the agenda?
There are none.
All right, so I'd entertain a motion to establish the consent agenda as follows. The approval of the meeting minutes for the regular board meeting of June 20th, 2017, approval of the minutes of the executive session of June 20th, 2017, approval of the paid expenditures, expense approval report, investment summary, income statement, approval of purchases, and the ratification approval of the treasurer's report. And finally, the approval of the amendment of the intergovernmental agreement between the Village of North Aurora, police enforcement of park ordinances.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Gray. Any further discussion? Shelley, please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Gray. Aye. Riley.
Aye.
Dorsey.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. So I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as established.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Gray. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Next item on the agenda is item number 7, matters from the commissioners. Anyone have any comments?
Yes.
Okay.
It has been, due to scheduling conflicts, it has been a couple years since I've been able to get out to the Windmill City Fest. But I was out there this weekend, and I tell you, our staff, I'm sure it takes forever to put these things together. It is phenomenal. It was awesome. The way from the way the grounds were kept, to the way that it was set up, to the whole organization of just, taking money and whatever. It was phenomenal. Kudos to the staff once again for a magnificent fest. I went out there and I was blown away. So fantastic.
That's actually the tagline for Windmill City Fest, will blow you away.
And it worked. So I had to make sure that I said something, because like I say, I haven't been out there in a couple of years, but it was fantastic. My daughter and I had a really good time. So.
Excellent, and thank you for volunteering.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Thank you, Commissioner Gray, as well.
Sure. Had
And
fun.
he copied what I was going to say.
That's why I said it first.
Windmill City Fest is great. It's always clean, family friendly. No carnies this year, but it was great as always. And just an FYI, tomorrow night before the concert, there's a scavenger hunt that the Parks Foundation is putting on. I didn't know if that was in your announcements or not, but come out a little early for that.
Great. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just have to echo what's been said. The grounds were very well kept up. Staff was very engaged with patrons, whether it was serving beer or the tickets or talking with folks. The bright colored T-shirts. I mean, they were everywhere.
Popsicle sticks.
Yeah, they were everywhere.
But that's very important for people to see when they have a question. They know that there's someone there to help. There's a lot of times at events, there's like one and everyone disappears, and then someone has a question about something that in a planning that you put into it. And it was pointed out that I think the extending the beer, where you can go with the beer with the fences, expanding that was really a nice touch. So whoever thought of that and actually implemented, I'm sure it was easy to do. And then security was very visible, and then you had folks posted various places to help with questions. So I mean, it was just put together just fantastic. So and announcing things where I think there are people in there all the time. So I don't think missing the other outfit was really detrimental to anything.
Excellent feedback. Thank you.
Thank you for the feedback, and thanks for being here.
Congratulations to the staff. Well done.
Thank you, everybody. Weather has everything.
Not everything.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do with not everything.
This is true.
All right, so next item on the agenda is correspondence. I'd like to acknowledge one email correspondence from Jeff DeLacy. Appreciation for the work that's been done to preserve the marsh area at Brayburn Park and Preserve.
And just to refresh the Park Board's memory, that last year at this time, Mr. DeLacy was very concerned about Brayburn Park, and he had contacted the King County Forest Preserve about the marsh area, contacted us as well as Geneva Park District, since that's a shared park between Geneva and Batavia. And he's just extremely thrilled that everything has increased, the level of care, maintenance.
Terrific.
Very happy.
Excellent. All right, next item on the agenda is announcements. Katie?
We'd like to invite everyone to join us for our summer outdoor movie tomorrow night, as well as on Wednesday, August 2nd. The free movies will be held at the Riverwalk following the River Rhapsody concert series at approximately 8:30 p.m. Tomorrow night's movie will be The Secret Life of Pets. The August 2nd movie will be E.T. the Extraterrestrial, which is a classic movie for both kids and adults. You can definitely visit our website at bataviaparks.org for more details on both of those. And just a reminder that the summer outdoor movies are brought to you in cooperation with the Batavia Rotary Club. And just to tag on to Commissioner Gray's comment, yes, there's going to be a special scavenger hunt at tomorrow night's concert put on by the Parks Foundation, so definitely stop by their booth to learn more details about that. And the Riverwalk is heating up next weekend for the 25th Annual State Championship Chili Cook-Off. You can head down to the Riverwalk on Saturday, July 29th to check it all out. If you're interested in showing off your cooking skills, you can enter in 2 divisions, Traditional or CASI, which is the Chili Appreciation Society International. If you don't want to compete, you can just come down to eat. There's tasting spoons that will be available for a suggested $5 donation. And concessions, courtesy of Bernie's Bully Dogs, will be open at 2 p.m. And then the chili tasting also begins at 2 p.m. And awards will follow at 3:30. So don't forget to vote for your favorite chili in the People's Choice category. So for more details, or if you're interested in applying to enter your chili, definitely stop by the Civic Center or visit us on our website. And sadly, the Hull Quarry Beach is closing for the season on August 13th, so be sure to head down for some fun in the sun soon. Daily admission is just $8 for residents, and you can also take advantage of discounted rates every Wednesday. And you also don't want to miss out on Beach Ball Bonanza, which is this Thursday from 12:30 to 4 p.m. The first 100 people will be receiving a free beach ball, and there'll be beach ball themed games all throughout the day and during the break periods. And also to kick off the last weekend of the quarry season, we have a brand new event called Rock the Quarry, which is a concert on Friday, August 11th at 6 p.m. There's going to be extended hours at the quarry and music by Johnny Rustler and the Beach Bum Band. It's definitely going to be a fun night you don't want to miss. And also on behalf of the Park District, we'd like to thank everyone who attended this year's Windmill City Festival and explored our new fun zone and our new activities. You can head over to our Facebook page to check out all the photos from the event. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is staff reports. So we'll start with any updates staff want to provide or highlights.
Bit of a small one, but we're pretty proud of it. The finance department rebuilt an interface, or built a new interface from our timekeeping system to our payroll system. It effectively replaces our old one, which would have required $1,500 in programming fees to fix, and will save us $150 a month on our ADP bill. So a little bit of exploring the new functionality of the financial system that we put into place last year, found some features that allowed us to do this for free.
Outstanding.
Wow, awesome.
Well done.
And kudos to Director Gold. He actually attended a Tyler's Financial Software Conference where he was able to learn more about that. So the conference already paid off.
Thank you.
I just want to touch base a little bit on the Peace Bridge, or the pedestrian bridge, and our board replacement schedule. There's been some questions that have come up when we're working down there at the Riverwalk about the type of lumber used. It is a Douglas fir, but unlike Douglas fir that you can purchase at a big box lumber store or anything like that, the grade is called select structural. That's the really important part of the lumber. It is selected by the bridge manufacturer and for the the key word in that is the structural, I don't know, density of the wood and the strength that is needed for those types of bridges. Rattling, or when you're crossing the bridge and the boards do move a little bit, bridges flex, whether they're made out of concrete or steel, they do move, and there has to be built into the engineering of that. It would be considered normal. The boards aren't going to go anywhere or flip on you when you're crossing the bridge. They are about 85 to 100 pounds. They're 12 feet wide, 3 1/4 inches thick, and 12 feet, 5 inches long. So they're pretty beefy. They're not going to move. And we replace about 30 to 60 boards of the 328 boards on the bridge every year, more if needed. Some of the checking that you see on the surface is considered normal wear. On some of those boards, we would flip them and repassing them to the steel underneath, and then get another season or two out of them. So I'm really comfortable with our current process on maintaining the bridge boards. If anybody has any concerns or questions about that, please feel free to reach out to our Batavia Park District website on our special inquiry section, and I will respond as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
How does one follow comments about a bridge?
We have a lot of stuff going on down the Riverwalk, so
So, 2 items. We had our second outdoor yoga, which was done at the quarry. We had 23 people attend. Can probably fit about 4 more on the deck, and then we're going to have hit max capacity. It's kind of nice out there. And then this weekend is our big USSSA tournament, 32-team tournament. So this weekend will be another busy weekend here at Batavia. That's the conclusion of my report, gentlemen and ladies.
How do you follow that? I just have a quick announcement. We're excited that the fall brochure will be coming out next week and delivered to residents. We will also be distributing the annual report to in the bags that's hand delivered to each of those homes. So those will get in the hands of everyone. And I'm also very excited to announce a new addition to our staff. I would like to welcome and introduce you to our new graphic design and media specialist, Miriam McKee.
Good evening. Thank you, Katie, for the wonderful introduction, and thank you all for welcoming me here tonight. As Katie said, I'm Miriam McKee, the new graphic design and media specialist. I'm thrilled to join the Batavia Parks team because of their passion and their mission. While studying at Loras College in Dubuque, Iowa, I gained the technical skills necessary to create effective visuals, as well as the heart necessary to serve others. During my senior year, I spent about a week at an orphanage in Honduras, building a roof, cementing a kitchen, and playing with the kids. I bonded with Yancy over bubbles, and although we had a language barrier, we grew close. We had a blast, popping bubbles and blowing them together. Through our shared interest, we grew close, and I realized the importance of simply being together and having fun. By providing fun and safe activities for the kids, our mission team connected with them and showed them how much we cared. People everywhere need to feel loved and to find community. One effective way to accomplish this goal is through the Batavia's mission of creating fun and safe activities for people. We bring people together to have fun and to meet new people and to experience life beyond the computer. I'm excited to join the team and use my designs to invite people to attend events and programs that will enrich their lives. I invite you to take a look at my website, miriammckee.com, where you can see some of my work. Thank you for your time. Does anyone have any questions?
We'll do a high Very talented. Very talented. I'll take Miriam. Oh, Miriam. Oh, I didn't realize the team. Great job.
Being proud a little bit.
I'm used to it.
Thank you for the reminder about our mission. Welcome.
You're a great addition to the team.
She's
All
very
right.
talented. I highly recommend you check out her website.
Excellent. Thank you. Executive Director's Report.
Yes, I will make this short and sweet. Hi, Leo.
I always think he's part of the presentation.
He's
pretty good part. Right.
It instantly makes you smile when it's
I
when
know,
start
he's
the
so cute.
report. All right. Windmill City Fest. So we do have some financials to report, but it's just gross revenues. Not all of the expenditures are done yet. So our beer sales totaling the 2.5 days, 47,900.
Most of that from noon to 2:30 on Saturday, right? I'm just saying, it's all sales. Who's next?
There you go. And the amusements, so that being the inflatables, the power quad jump, 19,600. And that was a change before because the carnival used to pay us 7,000, and that was it. They kept the rest of the sales. And our sponsorships, kudos to Miss Katie Drum, 13,400. And food vendors, 6,000, golf challenge, 3,500, for a total revenue, again, gross revenue, 92,500.
That's outstanding.
Yeah, that's
Well
fantastic.
done.
For 2.5 days, and thank you, Mother Nature, which, Eric, were you in charge of the?
I think that's Eric.
Switch?
A little bit. Dean did something.
Nothing to do with it. Sorry.
Oh, stop being loud.
So it was extremely successful. The leadership team and I had a debrief this morning, and we are going to make some changes, but we have really agreed that this is the best partnership, the best year we've had weather-wise, attendance-wise, band-wise, very little incidents to report, just a fabulous festival.
Great.
And just to show the intergovernmental cooperation, our friends of the city, our police and fire departments were exceptional. They were there every step of the way with us, and we can't thank them enough. And then thank you to the chamber for helping with the food booths. Yoga on the beach. Dean over there gave you a little preview, but this program really ties into our mission of being fun and innovative. We've been offering yoga on the beach 2 times now. We're going to offer it again August 12th. It's a Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Highly encourage you, if you can make it, to be there. It's a drop-in program. It's beautiful while the sun is rising, and you can hear the water in the background. It's amazing. It's on the deck, so you don't have to worry about splinters because of the planks that we use. It's just the ambiance is unbelievable. So for those of you at home, yoga on the beach, check it out. It's well worth it. Mother Nature has not been kind to us this year. We've had 3 out of our 4 concerts canceled. And with that being said, we've had to cancel many a paddle boat. And tomorrow night, we're hoping for the best. The meteorologists we're hoping are wrong, because the next 5 days is supposed to bring us rain. But it doesn't mean they're right.
Doesn't mean they're right.
But the water has crested on the Fox River, so we have closed paddle boats temporarily until it starts to go down. But just to give the park board a heads up that our concert series we have lost because a lot of the bands will not refund us.
Sure.
And but luckily the Rotary Club is our sponsor, so that helped offset some of the fees. But yeah, our paddle boats, we really wish we could do more. Luckily, we were able to offer the paddle boats during Windmill City Fest. City Council has actually done 2 walkabout tours in downtown Batavia. And in the walkabout tours, they look at riverfront improvements. And one of the riverfront improvements that they just recently discussed was the extension of the bike path on the east side of the river. So currently, you have to dismount from your bike and walk it up a flight of stairs, a flight of really long stairs. And so staff and I are meeting tomorrow with the city to discuss options. The city would like us to be a thought partner and a financial partner, 50-50, with exploring an easement and possibly a ramp that can make it a lot smoother transition onto River Street. Night and day difference. We have had our water tower at the Depot Museum painted. It's so desperately needed it. You really can see it. Pictures like these that Jim took. Just now it looks as good as the Depot Museum does. And now the caboose is actually being painted as well. So pretty soon they will all match. And last but not least, these are our really colorful, vibrant banners that are done at the Riverwalk. So they will last for years to come. And President Callahan, this was a vision of his that he shared with Eric and Katie and I. So we did everything we could to try to make that vision
Looks great.
come to light.
Oh, good.
That's a wrap.
Thank you. So, I'm sorry, go ahead. No,
Just
go
a
ahead.
question. So, for the bouncy things, I forget what,
The inflatables?
The inflatables. So, is it possible to determine whether someone bought like a 3-day pass or whatever it is versus a day pass? Because wasn't there like a 2 or 3 price structure thing? Is there a
Yep,
way
we had
to-
wristbands to designate.
Yeah.
The all-weekend wristbands did not go over well at all, and the pre-sales did not go over. But the daily wristband
Was the
was
most-
really what we sold. It's all we
Popular.
sold.
That makes sense.
And we sold a lot of the $5 quad power jumps. That was
yeah.
that
Yeah,
trapezius,
yeah.
Cirque du Soleil looking.
And then
Bungee.
just another thing, when you mentioned you had the walkabout, and then you mentioned a ramp. So is a ramp
So
like?
that's city council that had the walkabout.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. They're talking about a ramp. What is a ramp?
Actually, that was going to be one of my questions. So, the Larson Becker property, which now the city owns, which is where the old plumbing used to be, that was never available when the initial state-funded river, or bike trail was installed on the east side. So it had to terminate with the stairs. So, I can't remember, Jim, how many years ago we had a preliminary conversation with the city as they were talking about acquiring the Larson Becker. And I think actually Phil Elstrom was part of that conversation. And
Yeah,
what we talked
2008.
about was taking some of that frontage right at the west side of that to create a ramp so you could actually ride your bike up to grade instead of having to traverse the stairs. So it's not a project that is funded or really conceived yet, but it was more of an agreement between us and the city that once they acquired that property, that they would carve out an easement for us to be able to facilitate that. And that's really where my question is would that require DNR
Oh, I'm sure it will.
approval? Is it, but it's on the,
We have not gotten into it
Okay.
at all with them, as far as any ideas that their engineering department might have, or what
Okay.
the preliminary study that we had done was very conceptual
Yeah, it
in
was very-
nature, and was not,
Right.
just kind of said, yes, if this happened, we could do this, and then it could go here, and even in that case, they've built the parking lot way closer to the top of the bank
Yeah, right.
than we envisioned a development coming, but I think that's going to be certainly our questions as
Sure.
to what are they, how do we think we can come off the river level trail up onto something that's going to give us all the accessible kinds of requirements that we.
And we're having our
that we have.
first refresh meeting with them tomorrow. So we'll find out. I've heard the city was talking about doing a little fishing deck, but if they do that, that's Corps of Engineers. So,
Yeah, anything they build out over the edge.
yeah, out into the water, right, okay. All right. Well,
We'll have a lot more information after tomorrow, I think.
yeah, I mean, I think it's a really kind of a completion of a project, I think.
Do they have a timeline for something like this? I mean, is this?
No
they're just
idea.
we
blue
don't even
skying
have
it
budget
right now?
numbers for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
But everything old is new again.
Right, yeah.
Because we have drawings, we have a
Yeah,
study.
Right. Did that answer your question, Kelly?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Great.
Thank you. Next item is old business, CDP Plan Progress Report.
Very quickly, on Thursday, we're going to be releasing our bids for the HVAC projects that will replace the 2 rooftop units on the gymnasium here and the AC air handling unit in Shannon Hall. And the second thing is that I was alerted today that the gravity rail carriage, the piece that's going to carry the swing seat, is supposed to have been shipped yesterday. They don't, to our playground manufacturing rep. They don't have a shipment date yet, but they're checking on it again for us. So it's hopefully left a factory and is going to be heading towards us, and that we'll be able to using that fun toy here by the end of the month. So.
Great. All right. So next item on the agenda is East Side Community Center parking lot reconstruction project.
As your action sheet indicates, we have begun the process of the redesign of the East Side Center parking lot. John Green from Engineering Resource Associates is here tonight with us to give you kind of more of a technical kind of look at the two options that they have come up with. These are two options that will expand our parking lot. We know that we're going to be replacing what's existing, but we wanted to begin first off to look at what our new piece is going to look like and how would that affect the rest of that property. So I guess, John, if you want to, I've got the board up here. I don't know if the camera guy can see it that well.
Test the zoom.
Yeah.
Actually, can the board see that, or do you want him to move it over a little bit so you can see better? Yeah, if you could scoot that over a little.
Staff, get out of the way.
Thank you.
Am I in your way?
Yeah.
Am I in your way? How about now? How about now? Am I in your way?
We're selling that.
Trying to get away from it.
They've toughened you up, right?
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Green, President of Engineering Resource Associates, located in Warrenville, Illinois. I'm also a resident here in town. Been here for 10 years or so. Have 3 kids in the school district, and glad to be part of helping the district further their mission with the development of this parking lot project. I am familiar with the property. I've taken many of my kids through Shannon Hall Madrigal dinners and different dance classes and different facilities, so I can speak firsthand that I'm familiar with the parking crunch and parking shortage over at this facility. I want to present to you the summary, 2 different concept plan options that I've worked with staff over the last couple of months. We met with staff. We had 2 real good design sessions looking at the wants and needs for the district and the residents in town, and talking about the needs and the demands and the circulation and some of the objectives of the project. To orient you on this first site plan, north is up on the page. Of course, we have State Street up on the top, Prairie Street over to the east, and of course Van Buren to the west. Here is the existing East Side Community Center. And the development area that we're speaking of tonight is strictly the expansion of the parking lot. As you know, part of our engineering design contract is to reconstruct and redevelop the existing parking lot, that it's beyond its useful design life. It's in failure mode. There's some drainage issues, and we'll need to rebuild the pavement all the way down to the base. But in conjunction with that project, we're looking at expanding. So option 1 before you today shows the existing structures that are on Prairie Street, the 2 homes, and of course there's 3 remaining detached garages. So option 1 adds 49 parking stalls to this facility. 49 on top of the existing 87 stalls would bring the total parking to 136. And there are proposed parking islands, 24-foot drive aisle, 90-degree parking stalls, and this plan before you shows the demolition of the house to the south, closest to Wilson Street, and the 3 detached garages. The northerly terminus is about where the existing playground is, and later on the agenda, Michelle with Upland will speak about some plans for that, and that kind of ties in with what we're doing here, both from a planning standpoint and from a stormwater and drainage perspective. But this current plan, option 1, shows an access point onto Prairie Street at about the current access point, which you may know is often gated out when the tots are playing outside. And then secondly, we show 2 driveway interconnects with the paved alley to the south. And just off the page are the different residences that front on the north side of Wilson Avenue. And to summarize, this plan does provide the necessary ADA stalls and circulation to meet city zoning code. The next part of the process after we present to you tonight would be to get your blessing and okay to go meet with city staff to just look at things like lot coverage and setbacks and screening and that.
How are you going to handle stormwater? Or at least your
We have-
general plan?
Sure, that's a good question. We have completed a preliminary stormwater analysis, and the Kane County Code and the City of Batavia ordinance has 25,000 square feet of net new impervious exemption. And this plan is well below that 25,000 square foot threshold. Plan number 2, which you'll see in a moment, is at about 20,000 square feet. So there is even some wiggle room for future playground or whatever is to happen over on Van Buren Street. So from a code standpoint, we will be exempt from stormwater detention storage. We have talked with staff and we're excited about some concepts and ideas relating to best management practices and native plantings for some of the landscape islands, similar to what you may be familiar with over at Batavia High School, where the drains for the new parking lot, instead of being in the center of the asphalt, are strategically located with native plantings in the landscape island areas. So there could be some, again, part of the advancing the mission of the district with being sustainable and being a good neighbor. We would offer some water filtration and water quality aspects. Perhaps there could be some opportunities to integrate in some permeable pavers or some other things as cost and budget and as the project is fine-tuned. I'm going to switch to the second board that Jim has prepared for us tonight, which is our parking lot option number 2. And the orientation is the same with State Street to the north. And this parking lot shows maximum ultimate build out of the site. Again, the 2 existing single-family home sites that are on Prairie Avenue that are vacant now. And then the 3 detached garages are shown for reference. And this option number 2, which is ultimate build out, shows the addition of 74 off-street passenger parking stalls.
I'm going to chime in right there. With the increased volume of our rentals at Shannon Hall for weddings and quinceañeras, bar mitzvahs, we really, from a staff standpoint, need as much parking as possible. People are parking on streets and upsetting the local neighbors. Just wanted to add that into.
Can I ask a quick question before you? The parking, so I'm looking at that on the left, by Kemp Hall and between on that north side of the east of the building. Is that remaining the same? Those are angled spots, that's not included in this revision plan?
To this point, we have said we're going to have to reconstruct all of
The
that
whole thing.
existing parking lot
Okay.
anyway.
Okay.
So what John and his team have looked at is the additional parking, the new development that we would like to increase. We know we're going to have to do something with all the old parking lot. I don't know that we have, or that you guys have yet really studied whether angled or parallel parking is going to be, or 90-degree parking.
I just wondering, I assume that was not.
I agree.
That's
It's
not
all,
changed
we're
because
going to
Kemp Hall is
replace
still there.
all of
Okay.
that,
Okay.
and what we're wanting to do is add the new.
Right, okay, thank you.
Yes.
At this point, we're dialing in the scope of the expansion.
All right, okay. thank you.
Total for option 2 is how many spaces?
The total 161,
And total for number 1?
136 stalls.
What's the largest rental we have at Shannon Hall? Total number of people
Largest, 200.
that we set up for 200?
I mean,
Yeah, that we set up for.
we set up for seating of 200.
Right, okay.
Maybe 210, 215, depending on who's sitting, you know, the wedding party up there, so figure 200-ish, good round number.
Okay.
Yeah, there is, I can conclude, there is off-street parking in the area, but at the same time, we've experienced some extreme congestion with parking on the streets, especially within winter months and that, with sidewalks being shoveled and access into the building, into Shannon Hall, to the
Yep.
facilities. There is a benefit.
Emergency services too.
Sure, sure. So that concludes my report for you tonight. I'm available for any questions.
Just aesthetically, why is there such a big island in the middle? I mean, we're trying to maximize parking. Every space is going to mean something. I mean, I hear we're saying they have 161 spaces. We probably set up for 200, but that's in today's configuration of the East Side Center. We've been talking for a long time about what we're going to do with that. We might as well get the parking lot as good as we can before any changes to that building are being done. So I'm just wondering, just in the north, that right
This
there.
area right
yeah.
here, there's a large 26-inch diameter tree there.
Okay. So you're building just something around the tree?
Yeah, and
Okay.
and we're not just doing it for the tree. I mean, although we do like trees, there are circulation issues we have to
Okay.
look at. So as we look to maximize out the northerly terminus of the parking and back in these geometrical stalls and use the existing curb cut for sake of efficiencies for what's already there in terms of existing infrastructure, it just, for the circulation patterns lined up that way. That's kind of a transitional area that, one thing that's not on this plan yet is an enclosed refuse area. And we've identified even this island as an opportunity to have the three-sided enclosed with landscape screening for the refuse area for this facility.
So where are you going to put all the stuff in that garage that you just painted last summer?
Oh, well.
We have homes for all of it.
We'll find spots.
All right,
Yeah.
just asking.
Yeah.
Your office.
Yes. Exactly what I was thinking.
I mean, yeah, and there's a liability to keeping the two homes that we currently own. If a roof were to collapse, or if animals were to break in, or mold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions
Is
for
there a
John?
permission you have to get from the homeowners in the lower part there?
There's a public alleyway here that we'll be accessing.
Mhm.
So I believe the alley is 16 feet wide, and the city paved it not too long ago. That's, I think, the newest asphalt that's out there is the strip right here.
Okay.
So we will be, that's a public right-of-way, not a street, but a public alley.
So that kind of acts as a buffer already.
I think they would like it. If anything, I think
they're not gonna
using those buildings, I mean, it would be an improvement.
It is important to mention that this is in the historic district. So we would, no matter what the park board decides, need to bring plans before the Historic Preservation Commission. But the mayor has expressed that he would help aid us in that if we decide to move forward.
So I'm in support of removing the structures, the garages and the houses. I think maximizing the parking is a bad idea. We're in the green space business. We're not in the asphalt business. And if you look at 136 spaces at 210 people, most of which drive with someone else, not to mention the party, that gives you 100 cars plus 36 overflow for individual drivers. I don't think those extra 25 spaces are really going to gain us that much more in terms of, I mean, yeah, we're going to get 25 more parking spaces, but I think what we lose in terms of that corner and the green space on that corner doesn't make us very good neighbors.
You want to go back to one?
Yeah, and maybe there's a hybrid in between. Maybe we can push another row or something a little bit closer so we keep some relief off the corner, or reconfigure the existing lot and maybe close that driveway so we get a more regular in the mid-block.
One of the things we talked about, to your point, is perhaps land bank parking or phase one, phase two approach.
Sure.
Where maybe we scooch this up to the north, let this area breathe a little bit more, integrate in the native plantings, which are a great stormwater feature, but at the same time leave opportunity for expansion.
Right, I mean, I know that the prairie grasses to civil engineers look beautiful, but it's still a parking lot. And I think, I agree with you, I think maxing that whole thing out from corner to corner and pushing in on the neighbors to the south and, kind of taking away whatever green space relief exists right now on the other side of the bar, I just think that's kind of a knee-jerk reaction to we have a parking problem. But I think if you really look at 200 people in Shannon Hall with 136 parking spaces, that should be plenty.
If I may just add one part to that, Shannon Hall is not the only facility we have out there, and on multiple nights, we'll have something going on in the gym and/or in Kemp Hall. So those 100 spots that are used by an event are strictly for Shannon Hall, and then we could have dance class, and that's, if we have 13 kids, that's 13
Or
moms driving their
birthday parties.
minivan, or birthday parties, so.
But I'm going to argue that your wedding events are going to be your largest number.
Absolutely, they will absolutely be largest, but on the Fridays and Saturdays, if we have an event during the day, when we have like, in the wintertime, when we have basketball practicing there, or the first and second grade basketball, things of that nature, we would need more spaces than just what Shannon Hall. That's the direction that I was looking at.
Right, but 50 more parking spaces on top of what we already are, that's a lot of parking.
Correct.
I mean, that is a lot of parking. For a facility that has a capacity, right? There's a max capacity. If you're, if you got a gym, if you got a kids, you got kids playing basketball, okay? You got 5 kids per side, maybe you got 10, 11 kids per team, multiply that, you're not going to exceed the capacity of Shannon Hall for a wedding. So if the 136 could cover a wedding, I think it can handle any bulges you may have. And honestly, I think it would be more prudent from a sustainability standpoint to talk to Music Matters and see if there's a way to use their parking instead of the street parking.
We've tried to reach out to Music Matters and for many different issues, and we can try again, but we've been unsuccessful at this point.
Yeah.
See, I'm just concerned, though, I hear what you're saying, Pat, I'm just concerned about what our future for that whole site is, and I'd like to plan for the future now, rather than say, okay, we have expansion if we need it, leave that open, and we have expansion if we need it, but we're just pushing it down the road, and so that's why I was saying that maximizing that space, even that one little area there, was a concern for me, because I'm trying to think what we're going to do with that space in the future that might require more parking.
Sure.
Who knows what we're going to be doing.
I don't disagree, but I guess I'd like to tackle that when we opt to go that route. In other words, when we actually do something to improve it or expand it above and beyond what it currently is.
Yeah. So then this option 1 then needs to make sure it has the capability to easily be expanded into option 2 without a lot of rework of the traffic flow and so forth. And it looks like to me that
The central east-west aisle is located in the same place.
Okay.
There is this asphalt here that shows one of the striped spaces with just turn sideways. So there is some flexibility at it.
I would also say that we are required, we would be required to review, and I know that they have been tough on parking lots. I don't know that either of these will end up looking exactly like what they look. I'm thinking more along the lines of what you mentioned earlier. There may be a hybrid design that comes out that maybe pushes a little bit more, but then leaves some more green space. They may make us bring it in off the edge of the sidewalk a little more. And this kind of really pushes all the way out, which is what we asked John and his team to do.
Yeah, sure.
Say,
No, there's no criticism
what can
here.
we do? And then we start pulling back a little bit.
Right.
And Pat, I understand what I get the point of, having this giant parking lot, but at the same time, that green space with that house up on the corner, that empty teen center on the other side, it's not like you could use that green space right now. I mean, it's an abandoned house. It's just kind of, it's not like,
Well, you got Washington Park on 25. Right? You got Louise White. Further north. So those are the only 2 parks that are in that area.
We got Old Hamlet Park
There's
over
never
on
park.
Franklin.
Right.
But this isn't a park. There's not a park.
No, I understand that, but I mean, it's also a park district site that I think needs to be considered in terms of green space.
I would say, finish up.
Well, personally, I feel as though that space does have a lot of potential with the 2 houses, but there is one 26-inch large tree that you mentioned. There's other trees, and I think if I was to live in that area, I personally would not want to look out my window and just see a giant parking lot. So I know that we could add different foliage and stuff, native plants, but personally, I feel as though we're kind of doing a disservice being the DPD, the Batavia Park District, by not kind of enhancing that for public use. So I would suggest, personally, option 1 with the potential to move to a hybrid option 2, but to still remove the second house and figure out if we want to put something else of value to the community.
to your point, I mean, public use, parking is key in downtown.
Yeah.
We're not using it, other people are going to.
People aren't using our lot to go to downtown.
No, not now.
I know,
But I mean, we're not thinking, personally, I'm not thinking about right now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about 5 years from now, after the whole downtown may be changed, hopefully. So I'm just saying that, you know, parking is going to be premium. And I know the city's tough on parking, but I have a feeling that with what they're talking about, they're going to be a little bit more loose with some parking.
And,
You know, but
and we've talked for years about, now that we've got the trolley up and running, using the East Side Center parking lot as a shuttle area for
Staging.
Windmill City Fest, or, you know, we offer the Super Savvy Senior Expo, a lot of big special events there too that will bring traffic there for sure. But I also want to make sure the board's comfortable with the direction that you go. I'm pleased to hear that you do want to see both houses demoed. But John, do you feel like you have enough direction on what the
Yeah, this is
hybrid's going to be?
helpful. I think this is all good feedback as we go in to meet with city and city staff and look at things like green space and lot coverage and kind of dovetail all of the thoughts that were brought up tonight with any city staff, and then perhaps come back to you with an amended revised plan.
A 1.5, option 1.5? 1.25 or 1.75? Which way do you want it to go?
So,
there's a lot that's
one,
anyway. All that's coming down.
We could do the whole parking lot. All of
two
it's coming
messages
down.
on that. What message are you going to
All
give to
this
the
is
city?
coming down regardless.
You've gotten two,
But we can.
green space, and then the other thing, cover the whole thing.
Well, I think we'd like to share maybe the bigger plan, just to see if there are any concerns of the city with option 2 with the maximized parking. I know the city just went through development of the North River Street project.
Right.
And that lot was maxed out just because with the new developments planned in the town, and there were some concessions made on certain items just in terms of maximizing the parking. With that, we're sensitive to the neighborhood and the surroundings, so we do have integrated some perimeter landscape screening beds, opportunities for plantings and small berms. So the plan probably would be to show the city the larger plan and then report back to staff, have our next design team meeting, and then dial in on the sweet spot for the best plan to move forward.
Is that garage going in? Is the city putting that garage in? Was that approved?
Yes, the
Which-
Shodine.
Right.
Garage?
Yeah,
Oh,
that thing?
yeah.
Yeah.
So would that affect us or benefit us anywhere for people parking for weddings in the garage?
So that's a ways out.
No?
Yeah.
Where is that going?
And then,
The old Baptist church was.
is there a way to estimate, we've thrown around numbers about the wedding, basketball, all the things going on in that parking lot, for playing loose with numbers? Is there a way to maybe look at the last 6 months of how many people have attended? Are there, max of 200, or are weddings like averaging 100, 150? Is it always 200? So we'd have a better idea whether, to get a better idea of it than just kind of guessing from what we remember.
I'm fairly confident we can probably come, I mean, we don't, when they rent it, they give us an approximate.
Okay, but then
So we can come up with something. I just want to point out Shannon Hall is not the only facility out there.
Right.
While we're using Shannon Hall as the benchmark.
Well, now
For
it would be
example, during the
Shannon and
week.
Kemp. We'd have two facilities. Shannon and Kemp.
And the gym and the east side.
And the preschool.
And on a day when you drive your kids to preschool, there's seniors, it's a busy, it's not just a Saturday, Sunday problem. It was a weekday.
I guess I'm trying to get the idea, is,
Walking
just
kids
like,
across the
is the
parking lot.
max like once a month, or is it max like 20 days of the month? You know what I mean? Or do we need to plan for the maximum for one time a month with 200 spots? Or can we get away with 150 spots for 29 days of the month, and then we should have 200 for one day of the month? You know what I'm saying?
If I had to answer that question off the top of my head.
No, but I don't want you to answer it. Go back in time and take a look and see how things are going.
Track the
over a
numbers,
month.
yeah.
And
So
then-
I'm just trying to get this correct here. What is it you're looking for? And I'll provide that information.
Well, I guess how many times a month is it the max that we need, the maximum coverage?
Oh, so you don't want like the average count of weddings? You just want to know how many times a month?
We
in my
mentioned
opinion, we
basket,
need?
all those different things going on.
Dean, I'll work with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have to throw into the special events that we host sometimes over there.
Yeah, and I don't need to have an
but-
exact one, just kind of estimate it out. If
No problem.
people say, just to give an idea, because I don't want to plan for like, Pat saying we don't need it, but then 18 days of the month it is maxed out. Or maybe it's not.
Terry,
Well,
you've been
something
there.
as a parent at New Horizons for many years, I mean, it's a busy parking lot during daytime hours, morning and afternoon, during the week, with a lot of senior citizens, people who aren't, maybe people in minivans and large Suburbans, I mean, it's a tight parking lot. It's not necessarily a safe space when you're walking with your kids and there's 5, Yukons driving by you. So I'm looking at it from more of that perspective too. Like, this is a place the community's using. I'm going there with my second grader for basketball, and then we've got a birthday party. I mean, I think it might be, I don't know if you can quantify how many people are using the place unless you've been there and seen, the activity in the parking lot. Like, I don't know, I'm trying to help you out.
I can come up with an estimate.
Just for the record, I've been there. I got 3 kids.
Yeah.
I've been there.
I've never said.
I'm just saying, no, what I'm saying is, I don't want to confuse traffic flow from parking. Right? Because parking is a completely different issue than traffic flow. If traffic
And
flow,
actually,
drop off and all that stuff.
Either one of these designs is not necessarily going to help the traffic flow until the rest of it is reworked anyway.
Right.
So,
That's a good spot.
to your point, I mean, all that we're talking about here is traffic flow when we really need to be focused on the amount of parking that.
I'll work with Dean on getting the approximate numbers, but it will be just an approximate, but
Yeah,
we'll
that's
look at different seasons
I would say-
because it depends on the season
Yeah, it's
too.
okay if we can pull like a month out each season because winter time is completely different than
Yeah.
fall. And so it's very seasonal as to when
Yeah.
it's busiest.
Yep.
Like if you go to the east side at 12 o'clock during the summer, there's nothing but space because our preschool's already done and there's really not much going on in the afternoon. But if you go there at 12 o'clock in the winter or fall, winter, spring, that's when the second wave of preschool's coming in and or the preschool's picking up. So it changes based on the season. So if it's
No,
okay, I'll
and
just pull like
that's-
samples out and we can go from there.
So we'll do that, but we'll also look at parking and not look at the traffic
Yes.
flow because
Right.
that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Not a problem.
But it is-
Understood, but it's still,
If
could
I
be hard to
may,
find.
No.
And out of all of our facilities, it really is the most frequented facilities. It's where our senior club's hosted. It's where, we do have the rentals, but we also host yoga. I mean, we've got the preschool, we have dance. We really have all ages. It's really our only.
well, I was hoping that you guys could provide John the information, the experience that we've had, all of us, when we were getting new park land, and the developers would come and show us what they wanted, and then you guys would say, no, we want this. I think we should go to the city with the full Monty, and then have them say, no, we want more, and then we can come back with a 1.5, design or whatever to meet what your objectives are. But I'm a little confused as to what direction you want John to do at the city.
Let me provide some clarity.
Thank you.
So we have a gym, we have a preschool, and we have a banquet facility as well as a
Dance studio.
dance studio, if you will. Each one of those has a zoning requirement for parking. Has anyone done an analysis to figure out how many parking spaces we're providing based on what our existing facility zoning would be? No. I think that's a worthwhile exercise for you to do. Because you're going to need that to go into the city, because they may do that for you. And I think it would be worthwhile to do it. So off-street parking, Batavia zoning code, by use.
And they were all different based on what.
By use in each area. 300, I think it's 300 square feet for every one spot for early childhood, 125 per one spot for every 125 square feet for the banquet facility and the dance studios. Yeah, so I think that would be the first and most important thing to do, because we would know whether or not we're meeting the zoning code with either option 1 or the max at option 2. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, is anyone in disagreement that the structures need to be removed?
I agree.
Are we all in agreement on that? Okay, so structures, so there's clear direction on that. I know there's going to be, I know there's a better hybrid in here somewhere between those two. I just want to be respectful of the neighborhood, that there needs to be some green space relief off of Prairie on the corner there.
Sure.
And I think that we also need to be cognizant of the fact that there's some very, very mature canopy trees on that corner, and if you do the full Monty, you keep one. That's going to really change the look. So,
There's a lot of those that are already on our
right.
tree list.
The third analysis is what you're going to do is understanding intervals, peak intervals in terms of when things are happening and coming and moving. And I know you're concerned about parking, but those new spaces equate to almost all of what you have in the existing lot right now. So you're doubling the parking that you currently have in addition to the east-west finger. So I just don't want you to have a knee-jerk reaction. We need everything because we don't know what we're going to do, but the building's fixed unless we physically do something to change to it. You're not going to grow the building. You're not going to make it any more suitable for more people than it can handle right now. So I think you just need to be cognizant of the fact that you don't need to go to the other end of the spectrum to try to grab as much as you can. I think there's a hybrid in here that will be both good stewards of the site, provide a park-like setting for really ultimately the gateway to the eastern edge of Batavia. You know, the acquisition of those properties has been something that since I've been sitting on this board that we've been slowly and very methodically doing to try to turn this entire block at some point into a park, a complete park property, right? We own most all but two.
Those three.
Or three, three on Wilson. And so at some point, those lots will come for sale and we'll make a decision as to whether we choose to purchase those. And I think there's, again, more opportunity for green space down there, but also some additional opportunity for parking on the other side of that public alley. So I don't think we have to put all our eggs in this basket. I just want to, does that, everyone agree that that's a good approach?
And I just want to check the barometer reading on the board, just to make sure that the board is still looking to have this done for next year. This is still priority for construction for next year, as long as we can all land on what the design's going to end up being.
Yeah, so long as you can get it through the regulatory
Great.
requirements, I don't see a reason why we need to change it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's an issue. There's no question about it. It's been an issue for years.
So would you like, we can meet with John again, and we can come up with option 1.25 or option 1.75.
I don't disagree with the approach of taking the full one to the city and either, consideration of land banking. My only concern is, once you do the zoning analysis, is the city going to make you do the big?
I think the first step is to do the analysis of, because Pat was pulling some stuff up, and every one of those everything we do over there, it's pointing that way, but it's that way, it has a different zoning requirement. So I think that analysis needs to be done before we come up with whatever hybrid 1.5 to make sure that when we go to the city, to Pat's point, we at least have covered all of those things. And it may end up being that it makes the decision for us as far as what that new drawing looks like.
And it's my recollection that at the time we purchased the place in '95, we were at that time short for what we wanted to do with it, and we did receive a variance. We weren't real short, but we were short. Might have been 7 or 10 spaces or something, but with the existing. So it may be that we'll be real close, or I'm sure those numbers have changed in 20 years, 22 years. So.
Great. Any other questions for John?
No, thank you.
Thanks, John. We really appreciate it.
Anything else?
Direction.
Thanks for your feedback. That was helpful.
So, in a related,
You're going to love these drawings.
this is old school.
Pat, you'll remember these guys.
Back in 2000, it was recognized that we needed to provide, because our preschool, was then 4 or 5 years old and really, really going strong, getting stronger, the desire was for a really preschool age-focused type of playground that integrated a number of different kinds of activities, not just a little play structure, but things beyond that. We engaged the services of a landscape architect, and she at that time came up with, after working with preschool teachers and rec staff and park staff, and who numbered quite a few less than they do now, we came up with this design. So if you can imagine that all the white space here is the building. This is the west side. This is Van Buren Street over here. This is the back edge of Shannon Hall, if you can imagine that. The newly clean and beautiful Shannon Hall.
Google Map.
In doing anything for either of these options, and be it now 1.75, our playground that is currently shown in the yellow here will go away. And it's our desire to perhaps bring back at least a similar kind of playground design for our New Horizons, as well as open it up to public use.
Which would, in essence, make it into a neighborhood park.
A new little neighborhood playground. So real briefly, and Pat's got about 10 minutes.
I'm good, go ahead.
Do you want
Okay.
Michelle?
This incorporated, starting at the north, up here, an accessible route off of the parking lot that would allow the ADA accessibility up onto a level. Right now, this slopes pretty steeply from the building down to the sidewalk, probably 6 or 7 feet of fall. And it was all ramps, all little stairs, shade structures, an actual little play piece in there, and then we had hoped a poured-in-place surface to be utilized for their little trikes and who knows what else kind of activity they could do in there. And then some storage areas to the south end here that would allow us to keep some of the stuff outside that we currently have in the garages over there. We have to do something, we have to provide a playground, so it's really become clear that at this point in time, we have a need to move perhaps this kind of development ahead. I contacted Michelle at Upland, and they've given us a proposal to rework this perhaps, bring it up. There are ADA changes that have been made since 2000. Certainly they have been clarified for the outdoor use. I guess I will, the only other board that we have to show you, and at this point in time, we didn't have any digital stuff. We didn't say anything digitally. We just had these boards and some paper stuff.
It's the diamond, the triangle-shaped guy that really makes that picture stand.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
This guy
Remember, everything old is new again.
Yes, it is.
They're going to go back to doing this.
I think really quickly, though, the thing to explain here is that this all is at a higher level than the sidewalk. This bottom line across on this whole drawing is the sidewalk. So you would have the ability to walk up steps to access it or come on a ramped system here on this north end. But that's also something we're going to have to take a look at again. So.
And you had mentioned Music Matters earlier, Pat, and I think we would make best friends with Music Matters if we did provide this opportunity as well, because parents that are dropping one child off at vocal, like voice lessons or piano lessons, can go across the street and play at the park until it's over.
But wait, can you tell me then on the parking lot design, where are we putting this now?
In front of
In this area on the west
On
side of the
Batavia.
building.
This is the front
Oh.
entrance to the building here.
Right next to
here.
Shannon Hall?
Behind Shannon Hall.
I know.
behind it.
Okay, all right. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the kids would not walk through the parking lot to get to the playground? could walk through the building.
Ding, 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 ding.
You can walk
That's
through
been
the
a
building
huge
or
issue.
access it from the outside, from the...
Yeah, you do.
So I guess,
Trying to bring Michelle?
Michelle, you want to...
And you lose another big tree.
So I guess I just want to add, besides the ADA, the other stuff that has changed is ASTM and CPSC, our playground standards, which, because this would be, mostly a 2 to 5, playground, then all those standards would be updated. Susan Conant did this, I'm just going to mention that because I got to work with her at Fox Valley Park District. She's moved out of state, but she was a lot of fun as far as a landscape architect, and I think she had a lot of great ideas, and I think we can build on those. The other thing that this idea does, go back to this second, is that it gives us an accessible exit from this. Right now, you walk out these doors and you go down everything is stairs. And because we want to make this all accessible, from the street as a kind of a pocket park, that we would be able to also make this a accessible emergency exit and entry to walking right into the desk, the front desk here. So it's a really nice, double project, because you're getting one thing and another. The other thing is curriculum has changed a little bit with preschools. We've done a number of preschool playgrounds, and so from 2000, and it's really nice to all the sensory things that people are doing and nature things, and I think, so going through the process with the staff today will be a lot of fun and be able to really implement something that works with what they're doing inside the building, but then also engages, the public and the idea of, come to this. You don't have to be at a program when the preschool's not going, and they can come and be a part of this.
And it really reintroduces the idea of this being a main entrance, because people find it really frustrating that
Everybody
they have
goes
to
through the
walk
other
all the
way
way
in.
down the hallway and they get lost trying to find the main office.
Yeah, and you could do a quick park on the street and run in the door if you just want to sign up for something or whatever. It's kind of nice to have that. And as far as the engineering goes, we actually are partnering with ERA because they're understanding really all the drainage and the engineering and the stormwater on the site. So as part of the playground project, they're part of our team so that we have that synergy of making sure everything, fits together really well.
We thought this would be a perfect marriage, or at least perfect timing, to bring this playground relocation idea up, since we're working on the parking lot. So what does the board think?
I like the idea. I liked it when we proposed it before, but with the popularity of the program, the number of students, I'm just wondering if it might be too small.
It seems like a really small space.
This is
But I
7,000
understand.
square feet, actually, and that's larger than most playground. I mean, a lot of playgrounds today, neighborhood playgrounds, about 5,000 square feet, so it actually is it's bigger than it looks.
So explain to me how you would get rid of that hill.
So the hill actually, partly the hill is going to be some walls. It has to be able to get up and
Right.
down, it's going to have to be some walls as part of it. to
Like
be able
retaining
to-
walls?
Yeah, because you come
Right.
right to the right of, the sidewalk is the right of way,
Right there.
the property line,
Approximately the
in
same
essence.
size
So
as the-
in this case,
This is what we
she had walls right in here and here so that you can maximize the space up here. There's an existing tree there now, if you look at, if you're
Yep.
looking at Google Earth, it's actually in pretty bad shape. If you look on the backside, it's hollowed out, so it's probably that's one we won't need to save because from hazardous, it's done its duty, so.
I had the tree guy look at it back in 2000 at that time to say, should we work around it? And he said, that thing's not going to last more than 5 years. Well, 17 years.
Or say that was 15 years ago.
It's in really bad shape.
Make a bet on that?
To answer the question about the preschools, generally speaking, only one class is using the preschool at a time anyway. So you're talking about 12 kids. So the space is small, but it's designed for the purpose of one class at a time. Potentially there'll be some crossover as kids are walking past it, but they go out there for their, if it's cold outside, they go out there for their 10 minutes. If it's a nice day, they go out there for their 30 minutes, and then the next class comes in. So we would never have a large amount of kids in there at one time for programming purposes.
What about that space just north of the stairs, though? That's like some shrubs stuff there. Would that just be the
Yeah,
same?
that's all would become part of the ramp area.
Okay.
Well, bye.
Okay.
And that could be special rec money that we can use
Okay.
to make that
Yeah, we would
ramp.
marry, as we do with all our playground
Right.
development stuff, there would be, some of this would be able to be taken out of that fund.
A new sign here too, like a welcome sign as you're coming in.
Right.
So it really is just a dead space right now.
It's
It really is.
kind of.
And being that Shannon Hall is really one of our showcase facilities and the Eastside Center is more heavily utilized out of all of our facilities, this really creates a welcoming environment. And with Music Matters really picking up on their volume of people too.
So our timing on this would be that we would begin, if you approve our entering into the agreement, we would begin this process here late in this summer, work our way through and be ready to go to bid on it and put it in, we would put that in our budget in the CDP budget for 2018. Yeah.
Any questions for Michelle?
No?
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. Did you see it? Would you want to enter the motion?
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just getting my...
You probably have all sorts of windows open right now.
Okay, I just a question about what we're gonna do with the East Side Center.
The parking
Put a
lot?
little park in it. No, the playground.
Oh, the playground.
And the parking lot, so yeah.
So at this time, I would entertain a motion to enter into agreement with Upland Design to design the replacement playground and not to exceed, an amount not to exceed $24,000.
So moved.
Second.
So motion by Kerwin, second by Gray. Any further discussion?
This is just a design thing, just putting it in the drawing, so.
Correct. This would take us up through construction administration and everything, just like we do. Yeah.
But we will see a design.
We'll see it before.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gosh, yes.
We'll bring it before you for sure.
Oh, yes.
Just me.
Probably more than one.
Option 1, option 2, just kidding.
As long as we keep it trying.
You can try
We
it.
will do that for you. You know we will.
You want me to draw one for you?
Just how
Now you have
sophisticated.
to.
Shelley, please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Gray. Aye. Riley.
Aye.
Dorsey.
Aye, motion carries. We look forward to seeing some design work. Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the approval of expense for Commissioner Riley in accordance with the Local Government Travel Expenses Control Act, Public Act 099-0604. What are you moving to?
You know what? I need to review this again if you're going to make a motion.
Can I see your receipts?
So full disclosure, this is for Commissioner Riley to go to the National Park and Rec Conference. So it's our motion to approve Board of Commissioners expense in accordance with the Travel Expense Control Act, Act 099-0604, as presented.
So moved.
Any further discussion or comments?
Says taxi and town car.
Shelley, please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Dorsey. Riley.
Aye.
Abstain. Kenny? I was just trying to keep it ethical.
Gray. Aye.
Motion carries. Aye. Okay, next on the agenda is administrative policy discussion. This is before us is the first reading of the administrative policy. Which section is this?
It's for the treasurer's report.
Yeah, we gotta start numbering this.
Okay.
Or something.
But I do like the gray box at the bottom.
This is the treasurer. Next month. All right, next item on the agenda is the Fox Valley Special Rec Association update.
There is a hoops tournament that will send you a flyer about, and they're looking to gather teams, so they're looking to see the Park District for and/or staff, or board and staff would be interested in participating. It's July 30th. 3 on 3. So if you're, I will send you the flyer. I'll send you the flyer, and if you're interested, let me know, and the Batavia Park District will pay for you to be part of it. Just
Okay. Next on the agenda is Batavia Parks Foundation.
Like I said earlier, there's a scavenger hunt tomorrow night. I believe they're going to kick it off before the concert. And over the weekend at Windmill City Fest, the foundation served beer in the beer tent and had out a lot of information and sign-up sheets for potential members, volunteers, and they got quite a few names actually, and raffled off or gave out some little goodies to kids and parents. And I think that's it. There's a meeting on Monday.
the bags tournament, I think the 24th.
All right, we do not have an executive session this evening. Any other business to come before the board?
That is that.
Anything else anyone would like to discuss? Anything we'd like to go back to? Tara, is there anything?
No, I'm good.
You sure? Okay. So I'd entertain a motion to adjourn at 8:16.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Riley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.